This is Pete Eckman with the RoboZone podcast. This is episode number 171. We are just streaming along. We're in coast mode, getting ready for state championships, at least here in Michigan. With me tonight, let's start out with the none other. His name is not Kim Shumaker. It says Kim Shumaker on the bottom of the screen, but that's John Wolfert. Kim will be back soon. How you doing, John?
We'll be back. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Looking forward to states. We were just before this, we were in our meeting planning what we're doing at states and everything, because Kettering's going big at states. So we planning that, how we're gonna cover that. It's gonna be so much fun. We've been talking about, okay, how they're gonna do the fields, you know, who's gonna be on what fields, and it's gonna be interesting because this weekend, two of the events are Saturday, Sunday. So we probably won't know till at least Tuesday night.
Monday.
No, because it's Sunday. Gail's got to also find out who's actually going before they release that, right? Yes. Who can pay, who's not, and then go down the list. So that could take till, Tuesday evening. Who knows? So we shall see. We shall see. I'm being pessimistic there that we won't know till Tuesday, but it's going to be exciting, and it's getting crazy. And I know Jay, you guys are going to be here tomorrow to do some more practicing.
Yep. So let's introduce Jay Tembrink. Hey Jay, how are you doing?
Hello, doing all right.
He's this way or this way. He's this way on my screen.
Yep. It's good to be here, Pete.
From good old 494, my alma mater when it comes to robotics, because that's where I first started. Long time ago. But Jay's the best. Jay, if you need a mentor to mentor other mentors to start straight and narrow, Jay's the guy. I learned a lot off Jay. To this day, I still use it.
Sure.
And then we have the none other than going diagonal, the 2-time right there, maybe soon 3-time world champ Cory Walters. How are you doing, Cory?
Good, doing well. Glad to be back, Pete, and coming off our weekend out of Lakeview.
Yeah, I was there. It was amazing. It was though I'm gonna get flamed when I say this. One of the best, if not the best, audience I've seen at a comp. All the stands were full. Everyone was on their feet, even for finals. Other than like a state championship, but I've been at events where people start to fizzle out and things go. The energy level was even at that last match. It was up there. So I look forward to going back to Lakeview as an MC next year, if I'm not competing there. So yeah. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Welcome.
Are you recording?
I am recording. We're already broadcasting.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. Wild blue yonder that is the World Wide Web. Although they call it the internet now. They don't even use www anymore.
No, they don't. You're right.
So John was letting us in on activities that you guys are getting ready to do for going big or going home for state championship here in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes, we are going to be very busy there. We have 6 different locations that you'll be able to find us.
Wow. So is it like a game with Kettering and Saginaw Valley because you're on enemy territory, yet you're trying to outdo the home team?
No, we actually play really nicely together. They get to host the event, which we would love to do, but we don't have that kind of space, right? And we work with First in Michigan to partner on different initiatives that we're going to do there, and then your typical scholarship row type of things. But yeah, we're excited. We're going to be doing a parent lounge. We'll be in scholarship row. We're participating in a Dean's List recognition event on Friday night. We have 2 student activities and our co-op sneak peek, which is for 9th through 12th grade robotics students to actually interface with, I think I have about 15 companies that are going to be there doing interviews and resume reviews.
Is Stryker one of them?
No.
We are not. But when I heard about what Kettering's doing up in Saginaw, the States this weekend, I was very impressed. I was like, that is fantastic. And kudos to you guys for pulling it off.
Oh,
If I
yeah.
was a student at States and the opportunity, that is absolutely fantastic what you're doing.
Captive audience.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Whoever came up with that, give him a bonus, Kim. Except if it's John. If it's John, just give him a cup of coffee.
It's pretty
I
cool
love-
though, 'cause when they come up to the, I won't call it the booth because it's a massive space. They'll fill out a registration form, and from that form, we will then shoot that to a printer, and we'll print off 10 business cards for each student that they can approach the tables with. And we're doing 2 $500 gift card drawings Thursday and Friday. So
Can't
if
wait.
nothing else, they could win money.
So if you're listening out there, pass that on to all your friends, neighbors, and countrymen.
So that's the best Kettering GoPro corner update I think we've had this season. Just saying, we get it right at the get-go.
Yeah.
Right? Not at the end.
Well, and we have a lot of prizes. We have 2 different student activities. We're giving prizes away. The activities will be time trial. I'm not going to say any more than that. But we have 3D printers, we have drones, we have GoPro cameras, Beats, headphones.
Isn't the cat out of the bag on that one though? Didn't we cover it last week?
Of specifically what we're doing?
I think so.
Maybe so.
I think
Well,
so.
one of them is a Romy time trial track. So
So people
have
should listen to last week's episode and then let me find out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. We're going big with prizes. Multiple of our degree and departments here on campus are donating. So we're pretty excited.
Nice. Well, thank you for the
Question
update. I
is,
can't
once
wait.
once SVSU sees what's being done, will they ever let us back?
Well, how do I say this politely?
So I'm
I've
gonna-
always had this idea that we should have it at Cobo Hall,
There you go.
Yeah,
state championships, because I would assume we're returning back to Ford Field or next year. I don't know. But
So I'll say this, the prizes we give away are awesome, but for SVSU having 160 teams on campus, Kettering will never top them hosting an event. Definitely the advantage is theirs. And I'm thankful that they're doing that, right? It's good to have universities letting kids come there and explore and do these competitions. So we see what we're doing as an added bonus.
great example of gracious professionalism, Kim.
she
Right there.
does that very well. She's the best.
Woody would be proud. So let's talk about robots now. Okay. We got Jay. Congratulations on your win last weekend in Macomb.
Thanks. Yeah, well, we had, we had 494 with a first, and we had 70 as a finalist. So
But-
it could only be just a tiny little bit better.
Yep.
But that's not the first time. That's not the first time that's happened with those two
No.
teams. And second, it keeps the competitive juices flowing in your build shop.
Yeah, there's enough. We got that.
Yep. Some Mac talking going on.
Your climber is still my favorite climber that I've seen. It's
Yeah,
so
thanks.
fast and
Yeah.
close.
It's pretty solid and pretty reliable. And we built the whole robot around the climber. How's that? So
Ah,
we knew right from the start how important it was going to be. And instead of waiting till the end to do the climber, we were working on that day one. So
smart.
And that's a smart thing to do, and you did, and it shows what you did and how the success that you've had.
yeah, and it was a collaboration between us and in 1918, my brother's team. So we were comparing notes like every day for weeks, and working on the CAD together. And the two are not identical, but they're very close. And many of the crucial aspects of it are the same, but different things like they have pneumatics and we don't, and we had a little different construction on the latches, but a lot of the stuff like overall gear ratio is pretty common, and overall geometry. And so yeah, it was good.
If you guys have never seen the Tembrink brothers go against each other, it's awesome. I've been there. It's awesome going back and forth at the same event. And hopefully we might see
Yeah.
them on the same field at states, which would be very interesting.
Sure.
And Cory, congratulations on your blue banner over the weekend. I was
Thank you.
there to witness it. You guys were flying around, literally almost off the ground at some point. You guys were moving so fast. But congratulations.
Yep, thank you. We had a good weekend in Lakeview and 18-0, ranked second behind Frigibot's, and went to the finals and won it. So,
It was a 1-2 in the end, and 2 came out victorious. It was a very good count. Very good count for a week 5 event. I liked it a lot. There was a lot of people there, and there was still that was one of the last weeks, if not the last week, where someone's never played before. So we still had robots that never touched the field at that event.
yeah, it was like a third or maybe about a half of the teams at that event was their first event.
Yep.
And that just because, yeah,
Yes.
first event. Well, it's because Jackson's week 6. So all
Yep.
the local teams there in like central Michigan, they didn't want to travel. They were going to go Lakeview week 1 or Lakeview week 5, Jackson week 6.
Yep.
So,
Or they did Lansing week 4 and then Jackson Lakes
Hmm.
or week 6. Jackson's going to be one of the ones to watch this weekend. There's a
second.
lot of teams going there.
Don't I know someone who's judging at Jackson?
You might,
Are you judging
Wow.
at Jackson, Kim?
might be.
Well, congratulations for volunteering. Thank you for putting in the work. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We need all the judges we can get.
Yeah,
So-
they're very short judges, very
They
short.
are. They
And a
are.
lot of rookie judges, so.
Future judge here at some point in my career. And I want to be a zebra. I actually want to volunteer in every capacity possible.
love
What?
it.
A zebra? Yeah. I'm a registered MSHAA referee for lacrosse.
Okay, so you put those stripes on, and
Yeah.
I will make sure that somebody there tweaks their code so when it sees stripes, it shoots, because we've done that before.
Don't start that, Jen. Don't start that. I have
Pete,
an
I-
active
yeah.
team that will not mine.
Hey,
Woody,
Pete,
Woody
Yeah.
would be so sad, John.
He'd be laughing so hard.
Yes. Jay.
Pete, I think in order for you to be to be a judge, or I think you'd have to be out of your team, though.
I do.
I mean, I think you'd have to be away from it for a while.
Or
So
Michigan.
Maybe.
yeah,
So if you went down to like Indiana, you booed them out of the state, you could do just somewhere else.
I'm almost it.
There
I'm
we go.
only 30 miles away from Indiana right now. So, whatever. But I want to, even when I retire from my team or retire from the coaching perspective, I always want to be a volunteer at some point, as it goes on, because I love it so much that I can't be away from it entirely. So,
I understand this.
yes. John should volunteer to be a referee.
I'm doing what I want right now.
All right, let's talk about week 5. Okay, Jay, you've competed in multiple events this year, right? What have you seen? The meta has been at the beginning was kind of trying to score as much as you can. We've seen defense being played. You were the receiving end of some defense at Kettering week 2 when you were in the finals. Now that you just competed week 5 and got the blue banner, is defense still working its way up the bell curve, or have we reached the plateau and now it's coming back down? What do you think?
we saw defense during the qualification matches. It probably started on match number 2, something like that. So it doesn't wait till Saturday afternoon. So it's absolutely going to be there. I don't know. I described that event. I would describe it as grueling. It's just it's if you can shoot, someone's going to come after you. So you got to get faster and be tougher enough to withstand that robot to robot interaction and still get back out on the field. So it's getting tougher every week, and the state championship will be it'll be right there, and then the world championship. They say it's probably going to be the toughest one ever.
And the most condensed one ever. So you're going to
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
the echelon of teams out there, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have the 2 separate capacities.
Yeah.
Cory, your response to the question. Have we seen the top of the bell curve of defense, or are we going to continue to see?
No, I don't think we've seen the top of the defense yet. Yellow District Championship event starting this weekend. I think PNW is doing theirs this weekend along with some others. I mean, Israel had theirs last weekend. So we've seen some snapshots, but a lot of your really good defensive drivers are also the drivers that play really well on offense because they know how the game is played. They know where things are going. We've seen robot to robot defense. We've seen people trying to manage cargo and move it up and down the field. But I don't think what my mind of what effective defense is, I haven't seen it yet.
One of the things I thought about this is immediately when Jay said that, it's continuing to go up is, what about those low ball robots now, right? If the ranking points are as important as they are, if you only built a high shooting robot, maybe you actually have to make modifications for it to go into the low. What do you think, Jay?
So if you're thinking that the low shot is a more protected, easier shot when you're in duress, that's typically true. So yeah, if you don't have that capability, yeah, you don't have that play in your playbook. So we had actually started doing that, and we've been practicing that. We've had both the robots, taking turns. One would be the shooter, the other one is the defender, and we've even had other teams. We had the engineers playing defense on us, and my takeaway, like what Cory said, if you've got a good scoring robot with a driver that can drive and a chassis that lets you get around, you can be a very strong defensive robot as well. So a lot of these robots that we've not seen play any defense would be very capable defensive robots if they chose to take on that role.
And they should be practicing doing that right now.
I would recommend that.
Only for robot repair work that we'll need if you should say, do some defense and your batteries bouncing around like crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah, you want to know that. I mean, it has to be able to handle the kind of shock, but I think that it's very important to get it inside. The driver's head is an important part of this equation. So you have to get used to having somebody bugging you. That's like, if somebody was sitting next to you, poking you in the ribs right now, when you were trying to do that show, that would be a disruption, So imagine that, only you're trying to score. So you have to, I think it's important to not just the skill building, but also to have that frame of mind, hey, I'm still gonna do this or that, and not lose your head. If someone gets inside your head, then that's a pretty big advantage for them. So yeah, I think it should be practiced.
What about you, Cory? I mean, first I asked about the low ball, right? Now, when we built our robot for week 1, we were low ball only. So we know how to do it because Clinton gave me this is what I think might be valuable for week 1, and I ran with it. And now we ramped it up for shooting high, but having the ability to do both, is it going to be important? Or are we still going to see these, there's certain robots that I can think of, yours being one of them, where wherever you're on the field, you guys can score. Are we going to continue to see that, or are we going to see more stuff dumped in the low just to get the ranking points? Because ranking points is gold, especially in state championships, right?
Yeah, I think it'll depend on your match. So if you're in like the quals match at Worlds or District Champ, like if you go into a match, you look at the scouting data and you're like, I have no way of winning this against the other team, right? And maybe you just abandon that and you go right into low goal just so you can guarantee you get 2 ranking points. Because the last thing you want to do is leave a match with a loss and 0 ranking points. That's just a death sentence at states or Worlds for ranking. So maybe you start doing low goal just so you can guarantee that ranking point, but also keep in mind the second ranking outside of ranking points is total average high score, I think. So you don't want to do low goal just for ranking point. You still want to be able to get a high score because that's the next section of what ranks you.
Right. So the complexity would be for a team going to, let's just say Michigan State Championships, is to have a game plan for if you're playing defense on or not. So if you're playing defense on and you want to guarantee that ball's getting to the low, go to the low goal. If no one's playing defense on you, and you shoot high goal, go to the high goal. But at least you don't want to leave cargo on the field, and you don't want to not score at all, because even in the end, and one of the things that I learned at first time I was at state championships when we were rookies in 2018, we did something really well, but we weren't chosen for playoffs because we only did that one thing really well. So I think that's one of the things, Jay, and I think you might agree with me in that, is you need to make sure you can pretty much do everything and do it well in practice, because it's not like a district event. So,
Right. You need the plan A, plan B, plan C. You need all that. You need to be able to switch and be flexible. If somebody's on you, maybe you're going to dump them low. If you've got a couple seconds to get those shots off, you shoot them high, and you need to be able to seamlessly switch back and forth. And, maybe in between shots, you're going to manage some of your opponent's cargo or disrupt their shot. So it's going to continue to evolve all these different, parts that are going to make up your playbook. So
Cory, when I was prepping for this podcast, right, and this whole season, I thought of what would Clint do? Okay. I go into every match thinking, what would Clint do? I'm not going to make a t-shirt, but I know he's going to hear this, and his ego go get a little bit, big. But this show, Clint's a great guy. But, we haven't seen too many strategies where you starve the team, right? I saw it a little bit at Lakeview, where the opposing team would keep 2 balls in their robot, especially at the end. Do you think we're going to see some starvation type of strategies at districts?
I think so. I think we ran into in our finals at Lakeview with Fridge Bots and Robo Beavers and the Flapper Robot team, whatever the Robo.
That's the Robo Rams out of Holt,
where I think in finals 2, they were trying to move our cargo to the far side of the field. And it definitely slowed down our shooting, but then all of a sudden all of our cargo is in the same spot. So now we don't have to go chasing our cargo because they've kind of herded it all in one spot. But what does end up happening is in the end game, you can't be in the hangar zone, or you don't want to be near the hangar zone either. So near the end game, that cargo starts to become unavailable. But I think us in 1188 has such a stronger odds on. We had such a big lead coming out of auto that a ball starvation won't do it. So I don't think ball starvation is much of a big thing as much as trying to disrupt your opponent's cargo as much as possible. Whether that's moving it or picking it up. I definitely see a defender picking up 2 balls. That's pretty common at this point to play defense and then play with robots, but they just got to be wary about then controlling and momentary control of cargo after that. And
which the referee's job is going to be much harder at state championships than any of these districts. And one of the things that we've seen, and Jay, you said you had defense played on you almost out of the get-go at Macomb. How about the protruding into the robots frame perimeter? Was there a lot of flags being dished out at Macomb with that rule?
Well, first, let me go back and correct something. We saw defense being played early on. I'm not sure it was played on us in our second match, but
okay.
It started very early. And the other question about, what was the second question?
Frame perimeter, going inside someone's frame perimeter.
That it seems as though that has eased off a little bit. We had no calls or no warnings or no refs talking to us about that, but we also became very conscious of that after week 1, and we were actively, drawing in the intake quickly and trying to avoid any contact at all like that. So we learned a lesson from that and changed how we played. But I don't know that we saw a whole lot of that. So it wasn't getting called on us anymore because we were trying to be very careful about that. So
now, Cory, at Lakeview, there were some cards flying and penalties being given for intruding in people's frame perimeter. I hope people are learning by now, but do you think we're going to continue to see that at championships with the level at which everyone's trying to win, a state championship banner?
I think so. I think Jay did it too. It's like, you're adjusting, you're seeing the calls happening, so you're bringing in your intake. And like we said earlier, a lot of the teams at Lakeview is their first event, so they're learning this as they go. We definitely had teams with their intake down, chewing on inside bits of our robot, or losing paint that was spreading all over the place. But yeah, you just gotta change your game. If you have an external intake and you're going to be running into somebody, make sure that the operator and drivers are quick to pull it in. But I saw some other events that went on in week 5 where they were calling pretty religiously. A good team would drop their intake and they dropped it down into another team's machine, even though they're picking up a ball, and they flagged them for it. You just got to be responsible with your external intakes and where you're putting them. You can't just keep them out.
Hopefully teams have built them pretty strong by now. I know there's a couple designs I've seen where they're just like on a spring, and if it hits something, just kind of, there is no retraction needed. It does it kind of by itself. I think.
Yeah, it's just how the retraction happens.
Coming down is really that kind of pickups have been having some issues and stuff like that, coming right in.
Now I know another big thing that happened over between week 4 and 5 was that there were timeout changes, right? Jay, did you see anything related to that? I know it was a hot topic, at least on Chief Delphine, and we can go there. But were there any instances where people didn't make the field on time because they were still repairing?
No one got shut out of the field that I saw in the playoffs. There were teams that they received some grace from the head ref. I believe that they were trying to give them every opportunity to play, and that's good. We've been on the receiving end of a lot of help as well. One thing I would say about that though is they have to be careful in how they change those rules. If the timeout truly is 6 minutes and you have to be on the field, you have to make a decision. If you've got some minor damage to the robot, you need to make a decision. Do I try to fix it so I can play at 100%, or do I tie this device back and I play a different kind of game? So if you think you have 6 minutes, you put your robot out and it's less than 100%, but another robot is 3 minutes late getting to the field and they're at 100%, then that's not as fair as if both teams knew how much time they had and could make that call. So it's great that they give them some slack, but it'd be good, best if they could be uniformly, done with everybody. Everyone gets that same amount of time, and it up front so you can plan for it.
Or you just got up for a second and you have a team rush.
I do.
Sure do.
I do.
Oh, did Kyle pay you to do that?
No, I paid her to get the hoodie, actually. Quite the opposite.
Well, good job, Kyle. She'll message me later. That threw me off because your same colors as yours, so I thought it was yours. But when you got up, we saw Preston was our head ref at Lakeview. He did a very good job, I thought, as a head ref. And I was watching him just because, like I said, I want to be a ref at one point. And I was trying to learn while I was being the MC. But we didn't run into any issues with the timeouts either that I can remember.
No, and matter of fact, I think in week 4 to week 5, they gave us like an extra 2 minutes between matches on one match turnarounds. And they also don't start the clock until the score gets announced. And I can definitely say, from our experience, having that extra time was definitely helpful. We did not feel rushed like we did at St. Joe. We definitely felt ready when we went on. I think FridgeBots had to repair a Mechanic wheel, replace one in the elims I saw on their social media when they posted. But I know on our team and our alliance, we were definitely did not feel rushed, felt like we had adequate time to get on the field.
I remember the 3rd and 6th Alliance actually came both with their, coupons for times out, and they did a rock, paper, scissors to see who would call it first, which was good. So I thought the gracious professionalism and the what would Woody do kind of thing kind of flowed through that. So it was a very, very enjoyable kind of situation.
We also had an incident Saturday morning. We were in the first match, and our alliance partners were trying to get the robot fixed. And they said they weren't going to be able to field the robot, but opening ceremonies got done like 10 minutes ahead of the match schedule when it was supposed to start. So Preston and sat down, and I think, was it Kenny was the FTA?
I can't remember.
Anyways, the FTA and the head ref, they got together and they're like, we're starting early, and they gave that team time, and they got the robot fixed, and they were able to field the robot. So they're like, we're ahead of schedule. We're not going to rush you. Try and make it. Go check on. They went and checked on the robot, and that was all
the right thing to do.
Done.
Right thing to do. Start the day off the right way.
Yep.
So there's a lot of teams, and I've been thinking about this too. I've only been to state championships. So if we qualify, and we're pretty highly ranked in the state right now, but we won't know until Monday or Tuesday what the rankings are. But I think this is unique in a way that kind of the season has been. There's a lot of teams that haven't touched the field, right? So this is going to be the first time that a lot of these teams have been to states, and kids that have never experienced state championships, at least in Michigan, right? So Jay, give the people that are out there watching this or listening to it, tell them a little bit about what states is like it in Michigan and how to prepare it. If they've never had, if there's a student listening to this and saying, I've never been, what's it like? What would you describe it at Michigan State Championship?
Big, loud, exciting, a lot of work, a lot of fun. If you take the average, like a district event, and everyone that's there at the district, well, I mean, there's 4 fields, and each one of those fields has got more excitement, more energy than any district that we've had. So it's a different. It feels a lot like the old regionals where you would, like we used to go to. Well, let's see, Michigan used to have one down at Wayne State. They had one at Eastern and one at Grand Valley, and you would play in a big stadium, so it's pretty exciting. So practice, take advantage of everything, and go and do what you've practiced, and play the game that you've played, and enjoy it, because you don't get, it's quite an experience. And I guess I don't know anyone that went to one and said, boy, this was boring, I didn't like it. It's a pretty special place.
Yes. Cory, how would you describe it? How would you tell a student to get ready? I mean, you have kids on your team. You guys both, Jay and you, Cory, have kids have never been to state championships. So what are you prepping? How are you prepping them?
We haven't done any prep yet, but we need to. We've talked a little bit, because like the scouting's a nightmare, right? We won't, as John was saying, we're not going to know the team list until Monday, maybe at the latest Tuesday, and to pre-scout your field of 40 teams. And then the stand situation, Saginaw is a fantastic venue to get all 4 fields in it, and they do the best with the situation they have, but you only have 1 row of stands, so you don't have a lot of seating capacity. Your alliance selection is done Friday night, which means you don't have Friday night to do a scouting meeting. So it is an absolute nightmare for scouters. So be ready for that. It's a different cadence than at a district event. And you essentially have 4 mini districts going at one time. 4 mini district events are happening. You don't have to worry about the other 120 teams. Yeah, just worry about your 40. And it's going to be fast. It's still the same cadence. You're still going to play 12 matches. You're going to still be in the field of 39, and it's going to be very competitive. And you just got to be very strategic about your qualification matches and how you strategize those. I see John and Kim lost their power there for a second.
No, they have those lights that look to
Lights
see if someone's
automatically
active.
go off.
Okay. And then make sure your robot's ready. Like play after what Jay was saying, play your game, but go through and make sure everything's robust, because everyone's coming to the States. They're gonna play as hard as they can. No one's gonna hold back. Some teams will hold back in districts, hold back some strategies, but with States and with Houston being like 5 days later, everyone's going all out. Like this is it.
I think
Drive the
there's
wheels off
something
it.
Really, really important. The cadence is different, right? With alliance selection, and some people don't think about that, and how they have to process their data and make sure that who's ever going out on the field, whether it's a captain or whatever, has the best data they have. That really is important for all the teams, even for the veteran teams that haven't been there for a couple of years, right? Might forget about this. So it's more intense. It's just I again, people say this all the time, that it's more difficult in the Worlds. It's more fun to watch in the Worlds, I think, because the matches are more competitive, because you have a lot more really competitive alliances and teams there. To me, it's like, a little slice of heaven. So that would be it. Heaven to me would be a robotics competition.
Cory,
sit there and watch all the time.
I think the other thing that's unique at a Michigan State championship versus being at Worlds, right? The teams that are there, you're familiar with them, where at a world championship, you're kind of like, I don't really know anything about that team. So.
Very true. So Cory, I'm going to give you some pieces of advice.
Okay.
Because I remember what not to do. Okay. Because that was my first time. Okay. Make sure, and I don't think you have to worry about this, but it's funny, but it's not. So we only went once. When we went once, we were rookies, right? So we didn't know anything, right? So my drive team decides to go get free t-shirts from, guess what? Kettering University. And I'm sitting in the queue by myself as the drive coach going, where's my drive team? Oh, it was more important to get t-shirts from Kettering University than to be on the field. So that's one. Make sure your drive team is near you at all times. Two.
So problem solved. We're not giving t-shirts this year.
Yeah, but Saginaw Valley will. So, t-shirts will be there. Number two, make sure you properly plan to eat, because you can't bring food into the facility. They do have, and the specifics haven't come out yet, but I heard there's like a meal pass that you can get, and they have one of those like all kind of buffet kind of things for $15. I think that's the route we're going. Number two, hopefully it's not raining, which I remember our rookie year, it did rain there. That really kind of was not fun. Hopefully we don't have Michigan weather and we have nice weather. And then number three, make sure you hydrate, because that when you guys say cadence, all I thought about is going from the pit to the field and then back to the pit into the field and back to the pit and the field. It reminded me of going to St. Louis for Worlds when I was with 494. It's not just to the pit to the field is 20 feet away. You're going like a football field, if not more, to the pit and then go. So those teams that have never played before, or if they've been away for a while, even the mentors, right? Because so many more mentors have changed over in the last couple of years. So make sure you have everything on your robot cart that you may need if you don't need to go back to the pit. Oh yeah, you need the robot. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a battery might be good too. So.
An extra battery, yeah.
But,
the cable, yeah.
But actually, no, that's a good point, Pete. We get spoiled at these at our district events, having our pits so close. I mean, it's really nice. And then we get down to the States and then Worlds. It's a bit of a hike.
It is. Put a pedometer on. You're going to walk a couple miles every day.
Yeah.
And I told them we had our meeting last night to prep for States. Not that we're at States, but I'm saying we're in good shape to go to States. They said, what is it like? I said, it's like an event on steroids. There's no downtime. Everything's always go here, there. From the time you load in, because the load in is crazy, to the time you load out is crazy, to getting in the pits, getting pits set up, the judges coming by. It's just go, 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 go. I said, if you guys want to have a team dinner, it's only on Wednesday night. That's it. It'll be pizza on Thursday or pizza on Friday, something fast, but it's ridiculous.
If you have downtime, it's on you, because there's practice fields.
Yes.
There's practice fields. There's everything else where you should be if you think you're doing nothing.
Well,
right?
There's 5 hours of practice matches before we even start our first qualification match, which is not till 1:30 on Thursday. So there's no reason any robot should not work properly.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time to get on the practice fields, right? So Jay, would you suggest that teams make sure that they can get a couple of practice matches in before they, compete for that first time?
Yeah, whenever you put your robot in the trailer or the back of the truck or wherever, a van, when you unpack it, you do the check. Yeah, you should go and get on the field, make sure everything is there. Right? It's very good. I mean, I would say, for us, packing up and going to the first center at Kettering is that's practice for us going to a district event, right? So it's good to do that, but I also caution against nervous energy where you have to do something. So let's tug on every wire on the robot, or let's go and break something that we haven't broke before. So I would caution against the nervous energy, but do what's prudent and get out there and make sure everything works and get used to the lighting on the field and now you plug in and set up your station and all of that stuff. So you absolutely should take advantage of that, but.
That's a good point. You don't need to change something on the robot right there.
No.
I will tell you a funny story. And actually the team and the student that did it laughed. But I did a team visit last night. I'm not going to say who, but they were doing their sub team updates and such. And one young man discussed how the intake was still working well, and that he went to demonstrate that they had loosened it up a little bit so that it could move a little bit to catch a ball and suck it in instead of being so rigid. When he grabbed it to demonstrate the flexibility, he snapped the right side, and his whole team was laughing. Everyone was laughing and he was laughing, but he was like, so for the rest of the night, I'll be taking this apart and building a new one. And that's how his update ended. But bless his heart, he was so excited, and then crack.
Better at the meeting than at States, though.
That's true. That's true. Because you have much more capabilities there than you would at States. They do have capabilities at States, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying there's a lot more teams to help you too. So if you get into a bind, you have 159 other teams that can help you instead of 39.
So one other thing, Pete, for those, actually for everybody, I mean, this year we go to States, and if we qualify for Worlds, right, FedEx is providing us with those 2 crates. So we need to go to States to be prepared to pack up everything that we need to go to Worlds. And we should have a pretty good idea of how much the stuff weighs that's going in that crate, unless we want to write an overage check, so we need to go there planning and preparing to put whatever kind of, restraint system in there to, for the robot and for, the tools, spare parts, battery chargers, etc. We need to go there prepared for that. And that's a task in itself. So it's going to be exciting.
More nervous energy, like you said.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It'll be exciting though, because at that point
yeah.
you qualified for World, so you'll be excited to pack up one of these crates with all of your stuff. At that point, you punch your ticket.
Yeah.
Go home.
Houston, I would suggest that you just double check your reservations that they're what you thought they were.
Good point, Kim.
This is from experience.
Yeah, spent half an hour yesterday learning that what we had booked and I had confirmations for were not actually what they had on file. And I spent an hour today getting it corrected. So there you can call a phone number and you can type in your confirmation numbers and it will spit back at you what you have reserved. I would suggest doing that.
That's terrifying to hear, Kim.
Well, it was terrifying to experience
Yeah.
because I only needed, 4 or 5 rooms and I had booked these February 23rd. But yeah, I said to Mark, I sure hope a lot of teams don't get there and find out they don't have rooms because yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, it's
It was rough.
a little mix-ups and everything are easy to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Pete, I thought I saw on SVSU's website with they have a first championship thing if you Google it, and I thought I saw the meal order forms on there.
Okay. I'll put it in the show notes when I do the show notes for this one and
Check
put
it
the
first.
links to it. Yep.
I thought I saw it.
Anything that can help. That's
Mhm.
one less thing I have to worry about as a head mentor. So
Yeah.
make sure kids get fed and it's on campus. So they're not going anywhere. In case they want to go get a t-shirt and I'm sitting in the queue waiting for a match. So
Bet you that won't happen again.
no, it will never happen again. I brought it up last night. We got it covered.
All
So,
we need is nectar of the gods.
yes, coffee and hydration. It's gotta happen, especially as mentors, because we forget, right? We're so focused on what's going on that even the kids will tell me, "Hey, coach, when's the last time you had some water?" And I said, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's go get some water." And that's at a district event. That's not even at championship. So, I'll make sure. So, Cory will be right around the corner, hopefully, for me, and he'll make sure I'm taken care of too. He's come by my pit a lot this year.
Yeah,
So-
I've been around.
Yeah, been around. So,
You
Jay,
need a lot of help, Pete.
what?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said you need a lot of help. That's why
Yeah.
he's coming around the corner and checking out.
I'll reserve my remarks from when we stop broadcasting, and then I'll retort.
He's
Um,
doing well. He's like, what? You're 47th or 48th in the state right now, Pete? You're fine.
47 right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're there.
And actually, the team I visited last night said that they thought that at your last event, you were the 3rd top team.
Fourth highest
They
scoring.
they felt that you were
Oh,
the 3rd best robot there.
I
thought
may
so.
know what team you went and visited yesterday. I'm just
Thought it
joking.
was a compliment. So yeah,
Thank you.
don't share it.
Thank you. So we're almost done. 48 minutes in. We still got week 6 events coming up this weekend, which I can't wait to watch. I'll be very, very much watching the Jackson event because I'm very curious. Plus, it's right down the road. So if we wanted to go stop by, we can. But as you sign out, Jay, tell us again who you are, where you're from, and how we can follow your team.
Well, Jay Tembrink from the 494 Goodrich Martians, and also mentor Team 70, the More Martians, and I'm the drive coach for 494. We do have a website that you'd have to get at. I think it's 494 Martians or something like that.
I'll put it in the show notes, Jay.
Thanks. All right.
Cory, you're up next.
Cory Walters, drive coach and one of the lead mentors for Strike Force. You can follow us in all of the generic social media accounts.
Also in the show notes.
Also in the show notes.
John and Kim, anything left from Kettering's perspective before we let you go for week 5?
Well, I'll go first so we can have Kim go last and make sure we're all clean and she pulls everything together, how well she does. This has been fun. These weeks and everything where we, had input from lots of different people. It's been interesting, learned a lot, seen a lot of cool things. And next week with week 6 wraps up the districts and everything. And that should be interesting conversation. And for states, it should be interesting conversation. But good luck to everyone out there. We wish you the best. We hope we see you at states, even if you didn't qualify. Come and visit.
Good point.
I
That's
don't
an
think you're
excellent
gonna
point.
find more fun over the weekend than, if you're a roboticist, than going to Michigan State. So
That's probably the best advice on this episode, actually, John, is if you guys don't qualify, still go. Learn from the
Yep.
top 60 of the state. Obviously, they did something right, and you can learn from the next season.
And for you, it'll be your mini worlds, right?
Yeah.
Probably not many people that don't qualify are not going to Houston, but you can really get that feeling over there at Saginaw Valley. So I would definitely agree you should come and make sure, when you're there, just think about, thanking volunteers and First in Michigan and Saginaw Valley staff, right? Like really make sure you extend your appreciation for all the time and effort and funding that's going into providing such an amazing opportunity.
and your challenge is to look up Kim and find her and ask her to tell you about Kettering University.
Wherever the big Kettering banner is where Kim will be. Right, Kim?
I'll be everywhere.
She will.
That's okay. It's fun. It's fun.
Well, thank all of you for coming on board with us post week 6 or week 5. Let's see what happens in week 6. And I'll see you guys at championships.
Yeah.
See you there.
Have a great night.